Hey, you filthy scum, I'm Vulture Culture, and this is the Alesis HR-16 from 1987. And in tonight's live stream, we're going to answer the question, is the HR-16 the most aggressive sounding vintage drum machine? This drum machine was designed by Marcus Ryle and Michel Diodic, who went on to found Line 6. If you're familiar with the name Marcus Ryle, that's because he heads up Oberheim nowadays. He used to work for Tom Oberheim back in the day. I think he left Oberheim in about 85 and started designing for Alesis in 86, before then leaving again to start Line 6. So Marcus Ryle's history needs no introduction. And you'll see right at the top here, this drum machine is very braggadocious about being a high sample rate 16-bit drum machine. Which is a lie, kind of. At the time, of course, in the 80s, fidelity was this race for getting drum machines that sounded like real drums. And most of them were 8-bit or maybe 12-bit drum machines that still had a lot of vintage crunch, which at the time was not seen as desirable. The goal was to have a drum machine that sounded as good as CD quality audio. However, even though this thing says it's 16-bit, what's really going on is that the digital to analog converters are 16-bit, 50 kilohertz or so above DVD quality audio for you audio snobs out there. Can I get some scum snobs in the chat? But the drum samples themselves are still 8-bit. And if you listen to this, particularly this one percussion sound, you can hear it pretty well if I shut up the buzz from that low bit rate. Yeah, pretty good amount of distortion in there. So really excited tonight to be going through this drum machine. Why don't we start off by just checking out all the sounds. Now, this thing's pretty legendary for being easy to program, which is a nice thing. Plus, you can get these things super cheap. It goes without saying, there a lot of industrial bands use this, as well as like Orbital, but Godflesh really put this one on the map. They are an industrial band from England, and they used it on their first record that's like considered one of the seminal records. But anyways, we've got like an instruction manual hidden underneath this flap right here. So if at any point during this live stream I seem to lose my way, a beautiful thing is we could just pop this bad boy open and learn together. However, it's pretty intuitive. So if we go and hit the kick drum, right, we can see that the pitch is -16 right now. And we have a data entry slider, a la the DX7. And we can zero that out and then listen to all of the drum sounds. And then we can hear how they sound when you pitch them down, which is a lot of fun. So Georgie Pendleton, welcome to the stream. Welcome, Dorian. So this is the kick drum, which doesn't sound as badass as when I dropped it very low. But around there, it starts to get that, you know, diodes and rust sort of sound. And by the way, I will be sampling this drum machine. The link to my current vintage industrial drum sample pack will be in the description and hopefully the pinned comment as well. When I have this sampled, it will be added to that sample pack. So if you want the sounds from this drum machine as well as the Kwai R53, which is a very famous industrial drum machine used by bands like Ministry and Frontline Assembly, Front 242, all of those Wax Trax record bands, the link will be in the description. Anyways, let's go ahead and if we go to voice here, we can select what voice we have, and we can just step through them one at a time, or we can use the fader if we want to go faster. We've got 49 different samples in this drum machine, making it really it has a wide breadth of sounds compared to other drum machines at the time, which often didn't have quite as many. So let's just go through them. The first sound is the power kick. And we can make sure in the mix that we have the volume all the way up. Okay. The deep kick. Ooh, that's pretty dope. That's not joking around. The power kick. Am I missing something? Why does that feel like it has no power? Tune it down. That's got a little bit of, wet trout to the neck sort of sound to it. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Let's put the tuning back. And then back to the voices. We got the Swift kick, named for Taylor Swift, of course. Definitely a lot of high end, not as much low end on some of these sounds so far. But a lot of punch. That's right, Parbs. Welcome to the stream, my friend. We got the double HD kick A, 22-inch double HD kick A. Hopefully you guys can read this on the stream. Ooh, that's got a little bit of sex appeal. Almost could be used as a tom up in this area. Let's take it down. Oh. Yeah, I could make some dope industrial sounds with that. Very, very cool. We've got 22-inch double HD kick B. Something about that metallic room is very good. Westpath Kid, welcome to the stream. I had one of these when it first came out, like a real maroon. I gave it to the girl I was dating. I bet she made some dope industrial music with that drum machine. So sorry you chose that path. 60s kick. Whoa. I lost control for a second there. 60s kit. I wanted to tune it down. Kind of sounds nice in that territory, right? That's kind of got a nice. It's got a nice little attitude in this range too. Could be really good for like drum and bass or something, or that kind of upper low end sort of thing. Gated kick. Oh yeah. Yeah, the initial transient is huge. And that's what I love. I don't understand why these vintage drum machines have so much more punch than like anything else. Because it's the same thing with the Kwai R53, where the transient is just got so much attitude. And to me, it sounds like I don't know if they just compressed the sample when they printed it into the PCM. You know what I mean? Like because they were going to make a drum machine, they took the drum recording and then squashed the shit out of it. Maybe. I don't know what the answer is. Let's take it up. Honestly, plus 15. I don't know if these are semitones. I don't think it's semitones. It still sounds good up there. I feel like plus 5, plus 6 is where the sample, I would have assumed the sample would have been recorded at. Doesn't it have that like Phil Collins, sort of thing? But let's take it down. Oh. I love the artifacts, Parbs. It's a little... Like, I love down-tuned anything. It's probably a little too much down there. Oh, so good. Yes, and I should take the second to point out that Dub Station Zero sold me this drum machine. So he actually restored this one, and it is incredibly mint condition. I'm going to throw his reverb shop in the description as well. I meant to do it before the live stream. I apologize I didn't, but it will be there if you're watching this in the future. And if you haven't, you should absolutely follow his shop on Reverb because, I mean, this thing looks and feels like it's brand new out of the box from 1987. And that's an incredible thing for a piece of history that would be, 36 years old, 37 years old to make it this far. So just really incredible. And he's got 2 more of these for sale. So I'd highly recommend, if you're going to buy one of these, buy it from him for 2 reasons. One, the quality's off the charts and he's a great guy. The other thing is, he's scum. He's part of this community. So you guys, get one of these bad boys for cheap too. Man, that's wet trout right there. I bet through the microverb it kicked ass. The synthesis dentist. Try saying that fast. Really love any gated kick. Electronic kit. What do we think? That's kind of what is that, like 707-y? You can hear a lot of distortion in there, so I bet. Pretty fell apart there, but man, if you want like a badass techno drum, like honestly, I feel like I could watch like a modular video of someone riffing with like Erica Synth's Perkins or some of their drum stuff, and they could take the kick out of it and drop this kick in, and I would believe that I'm listening to the sound of like that Erica Synth sort of thing, and not this vintage drum machine. We've got electronic kick too. Oh, that's nice because it's got so much noise in it. Let's go back. I can't tell if they're the same pitch or if the 2 is a little lower. Feels like it's down a few semitones. Okay, so this is where it gets sexual. Oh yeah, that's that -7, -5. -4 sounds great. I mean, the high end's a little much. I'd probably rev up the low end or cut the high end a little bit with EQ. On the other hand, maybe not. Like maybe in the mix, you need that high end to cut through. That's another thing I love about these drum machines, these PCM-based drum machines from the late 80s, is they just have this wonderful amount of high end, which is really, you need that. Like I think people focus too much on like 808 and 909 style drums where it's like mostly just flubby low end. And of course it sounds great in like hip hop, for instance. But if you're making some sort of synth pop or industrial music, which I think is more the sweet spot for viewers of this channel, you need that high end, and they baked it into these sounds. We got a wood snare, an 8x14-inch wood snare. I'm the type of sick motherfucker who's going to take it all the way down. Up here, though, really great. Like, if you want to do some drum and bass, dare I say it, some fucking dubstep, that's a very nice sort of sound up high, too. I will say this, like comparing it with the R53, the pitch range, it's like everything in here is very usable, whereas on the R50, you don't necessarily feel that. I mean, that's a flat, like just girthy. You know what I mean? It's got the girth. Can I get some scum cheers in the chat, by the way? Cheers, you guys. Thank you for being a part of this awesome live stream we do every Wednesday night here on YouTube. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're watching in the future, welcome as well. Cheers, guys. Yeah, you can see that link for the drum machine sample pack I have currently. The ambient would, I love to see that emoji spam. the ambient wood snare. That is not an ambient wood snare. I fucked it up. That's my current issue is trying to tune it. That's a great snare. Wow. I mean, it's totally unusable that low, but I'm glad they put it in, and I'm going to use it. DeCarmick asked me, what do you think about the modern takes on classic drum machines like the Isla 2400? I don't have an Isla. I don't have anything modern, right? Every single synth I have is vintage, except for that one right here. And the thing is, and that one is like a rare classic synth, I love the constraints of vintage gear and the fact that it's kind of got a sound and you're sort of stuck with it as opposed to modern stuff. But what I will say is that I have a Brad from Isla is a super cool guy, and he's very into vintage stuff. And I think if there's one person that I would trust to make a really solid recreation, aside from maybe Marcus Ryle, the guy who designed this, and of course designed the Oberheim OBX8, I would put it right up there too. Good whip sound. Alfonso Caballero, welcome to the stream. How's it going? V, welcome. Eric's Corp. So if I buy Diodes and Rust now, then once you sample the HR-16 and add it, do I get that as well? I haven't decided yet, but I probably will do some sort. First off, Diodes and Rust is like $10, right? If I do like a Diodes and Rust 2 with the HR-16, I would send everybody who bought Diodes and Rust like a 50% off coupon code. So it'd be like $5 for the additional samples plus that. Yeah, totally tunable Theosophy. Sari, welcome to the stream. So yes, once you multiple people now have talked about these white stripes and how hard it is to get stuff up. Yes, and Grand Tetone, let me know how to pronounce your name. I should point that out. It's actually the HR-16B sounds that are even more industrial than this, but I do believe it's the HR-16 that was used by Godflesh. So I bought this one for two reasons. One, because I knew I wanted both the standard sounds as well as the HR-16B sounds, as well as the Lindrum sounds for this bad boy. And then I also got it because Dub Station Zero said, this is the one. I've told Dub for a while now, like, look, because he hunts these guys out and he finds them and he restores them. Like, one day you're going to come across the right one and you're going to let me know and I'm going to buy it. And that's what happened. So, yeah. Wow. Let's go back. The ambient wood snare. Whoa, I keep forgetting to do that. But, you know, there's something, like, nice about the reverby sound of this. I wouldn't say that that's bad. I have a MIDI Verb 2 as well. Good evening, motherfuckers. Welcome, Ron. Wow. I love that. It's just like when you can take a sample and just break it like that. Let's move on to the brass piccolo. That's a 13-inch. Yeah, that's really wonderful metallic sort of tone to that snare. I'm trying to see how far you can take it down. I'm listening to the transient, right? Somewhere around -8 seems to be like, if you're trying to keep it honest, right? You want to use it in a mix and you want that transient, because that's the only problem with down-tuning drums is you're going to get that kind of, the transient will get a little fucked up. Anarcho and Arachnid, let me see if I can say that 6 times fast. Godflesh used an HR-16 on Street Cleaner. Yeah, that's that seminal industrial record. 1989, I think it came out. fried it on their first US tour and replaced it with an SR-16. So what's an SR-16? I should know that, but a lot of freestyle songs. Yeah. Shout out to Andy Fields. He loves that genre. Yeah, we're coming up, Parbs. We're coming up. Definitely want to get an RX-5 at some point too. Moving on to the gated snare. Wow, that's down-tuned. That's something interesting, like even comparing it to like modern, if you buy like a modern snare sample pack, right? The snare drums will be tuned higher than this. That is a deep tuned, and the tuning, yeah, that's not pitched down at all. That's the sound of it right there. 40 Thieves, welcome to the stream. How's it going, my friend? That's crazy that's how it starts. Now we can take it lower. Oh, I mean, layer that with a kick drum. It's fucking satanic. I mean, it's not, again, usable here. See, I think it's actually sounds more correct about 5 up. I mean, you could use it plus 12. You know, just think about like... Even at pitch 0, I'm just shocked at how intense that is. Electronic snare. Interesting that, you know, I was that's like more of a tom sound, isn't it? I'm not saying it's not usable. I'm saying when you pitch it down -16, it falls apart. I mean, that's a kick drum. And it's nice. It's gritty. Rim shot. Everybody loves a good rim shot. The snap on that drum sample. Oh, right in the... That like massaged my eyelids. Holds up pretty good. All the way to -10's fine as far as the transient. -12, fine. I mean, it's pretty insane. But and that's another thing about these vintage drum machines. So a lot of people will say to me, Alex, because that's my name. what do you fucking spend all of this money on these vintage drum machines for? Well, first off, these are not expensive. You can get these for very reasonable prices, especially from Dubstation Zero. But Alex, why do you spend all this money on vintage drum machines when there's free samples on the internet? And basically any drum machine that had samples or whatever from the 80s, you can search, you know, Yamaha RX-5 samples, and someone will have sampled it and put it up for free. But they will have sampled it vanilla, meaning you might get the 49 sounds tuned to 0. You might think to yourself, okay, well, that's fine. What if what's the big deal about the tuning? Because you can down tune something in your DAW as well. If you go watch my video on diodes and rust, you'll see what a difference there is when you're talking about vintage drum machines and how they down tune PCM samples as opposed to just taking the samples and down tuning them in your DAW. The difference is night and day. I don't fully understand what it is. I think it has something to do with like low internal resolution as well as like optimization, where they were like, we got to figure out how to, you know, I think there's some, I wouldn't be surprised, let me say, if under the hood, there's a little bit of like some sort of dynamic saturation going on, even if it's unintentional. What happens is the attack on samples as you tune them down retains this incredible punchiness that you wouldn't get from taking those free samples you could get offline and down tuning them just in your DAW. You might not believe me, but like I said, go watch that video. Finish watching this video first. Fuck that video for now, but then remember that I said this and then go back and watch that video. It's a shocking difference. I do the A to B and you can see what a difference it is. So that's probably enough talking about that. OPDBX, welcome to the stream, as well as Matt Drip, Boss Enjoyer. Hello, hello. Devoid of funk. Listen to tuned Lin samples versus actual tuned Lin, and they will never ask that question again. Yeah, there's a difference. Side stick snare. We can tune this down. Oh, it's actually kind of cool down here, right? I would love to use that as some sort of like industrial percussion thing. Not too much point tuning it too high. This would be the first sample. I don't really know what I would use that for, but someone probably could. Maybe for some sort of house music, like a nice little layer, a little clicky sort of thing. Brush hit snare. You could hear that transient's a little smeared, and it's got the thunk. Still a lot of slap, but it's a little smushy. Little high's nice, no problem there. Whoop. Oh. We went way too far. Okay, we're moving into the toms. Power tom. Whoa. I was on the wrong one. The tune's way up. There we go. Voice. Brush hit. Power tom. Listen to the distortion on the tail all the way down. You can hear that, right? Right there at the end. That's how you can tell that this is a dirty lie, right? Whatever the output stage on this is, I'm happy that it's 16-bit. I don't know that it really matters. Now, for my taste, I love an 8-bit drum machine. That's where the hotness is for me, and I think for all the filthy scum out there. It's what gives it that character that's missing from modern drum machines. Of course, modern drum machines are great too. They're much more flexible. They're much easier to use. Yada, yada, yada. Of course, right? Duh. It's the future now. But it's cool to have this grit. You could almost use it, and you know what? It up around there, it reminds me of the Thunderpuss remix of Whitney Houston's. It's all right. It's not right, but it's okay. Go check that out too after this video. Don't tell that algorithm that you're not trying to watch my video to the end. Don't do that to your boy Vulture Culture. It's not good. That algorithm's already ambivalent towards some of the choice of words I like to use, so try not to make it any worse. Ooh, what was this called? Power floor tom. Oh, the samples of this are gonna be just crushing. Just nastiness. You know, Teosophy, sometimes you need a pristine sound, you know? I don't mind like a beautifully sampled piano every now and again, but sometimes you need this. Yeah, very beautiful. Double head tom. Wow, you can really hear the distortion on that. If I take it all the way down. Right there at the end. That's that low bit rate. Maybe this isn't as interesting as I think it is, but I love the sound of low bit rates. That's true, Dub. I shouldn't have said this isn't easy to use. I guess I mean like, not easy to use, maybe like easy to produce generic ass same sounding music, which you might have heard from my recent drum machine review. Hopefully that company isn't watching this video. That was a modern drum machine, not a vintage one. Wasn't as impressed with it as their baseline synth. Wow, it still sounds, it sounds good down 16. I'd use that all the time. Oh, RX-5 is about 12 and 8-bit. That's super cool. That was the second drum machine Yamaha put out after the DX11, right? I'm sorry, not the DX11, RX-11, right? RX-11 was first in like 84 and then afterwards the RX-5. I definitely want to try out a, what is it? RY30? That's like a later drum machine, but also associated with industrial. Like Electric Tom. Yeah, Disco Tom. Very cool. They were very clever with how they tune these, because they sound really usable across that whole range, which again is different than my experience with other drum machines. I want to go back to that electronic snare. Let's tune that down. No, it is brighter than the tom, right? Tom's a little darker. But it's almost the same pitch, right? Like, you can hear where I was going with that. RX-5 was top of the line, yeah. Oh, that's super cool, dub. Yeah. Yeah. No joke, really. Let's bring the tuning back up. Back to the voice. Close hi-hat, eh? Damn, I'm stupid. People don't like it when I call myself stupid on the internet, but, you know, sometimes. See, there's something about the high end. That's where the magic is. It's like, because it can't get up to 40 K, right? Or I should say it can't get up to 20 hertz, 20,000 hertz. Java Ally, welcome to the stream. Portishead used to sample their drum sounds at a high pitch to save space, and then they lowered the pitch. Yeah, I mean, that's another way. I wonder if they did that on cassette. I know they used a lot of cassettes, and that makes a lot of sense, actually. Such a great breakup sort of distortion. You can play guitar into an RY8 to trigger its bullshit synth. Tom, welcome to the stream. Qual Official, welcome. Every time you lower the pitch on every sound, it just sounds way better. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's what Diodes and Rust, my vintage industrial drum sample pack, is. It's just down tuning the shit out of everything because it sounds so good on these vintage drum machines. Listen to this interesting way this sample sort of morphs. It almost becomes like duller at plus 15. I think because that high frequency content is now like above what the converter can handle. You almost get this interesting sort of like noise hit thing instead of it really sounding like a hi-hat. So again, that's just goes to show that the tune, of course, affects the tune, but it does so much to the tone as well that you're not going to get that type of thing from just pitching that sample up in your DAW. Oh, somewhere around like -8. It's just really distorted sounding. Yeah, some going up are hot too. Yeah, really weird. Like, why is plus 15 sound like that? And it sounds higher at plus 6. Fascinating. Half open hi-hat. I appreciate this. Oh, like down is just so distorted. Oh, that is painful. Such a cool, a lot of these hi-hats sound almost like techno snare hits when you pitch them really high up. West Bev Kid, I should have bought an HR-16 half an hour ago. Definitely go check out Dubstation Zero's reverb shop. What's it called? Nick's Gear Addiction? I don't know if you can search for it. So many different textures and sounds you get from just one voice. Open hi-hat. I like that it cuts away. I'm sure you could do some sort of choking thing. Oh. No, it is stretching it out. Wow. Little, like, almost like weird wonky bell thing up there. Sounds really good. Just down a few in there. Foot closed hi-hat. Interesting little transient doubling there. Which probably sound really weird down low. Yeah, this is the reason the first Godflesh album rips. Loudwire calling it the most devastating drum machine ever used. Or something like that. Okay, I see. So if you use these, are all using one voice. This does have 16 voice polyphony, by the way, which is pretty amazing. I mean, Alesis was putting out incredibly good gear at really low prices. They were almost kind of, well, I don't want to say that they were the Behringer of the time, because this is a very well-built machine that's lasted 40 years or so, almost. And that's all I'll say about that. Ride cymbal. Love a ride cymbal. I almost always pitch ride cymbals down, even modern stuff. I just love the sound. And then a lot of the times what I like to do is reverse them and load that down, almost as like as a reverse hi-hat. And again, we get this interesting little like techno hit up high. It's something to do with the aliasing. Sounds great. Ride cymbal bell. Little tighter of a sample. I ran through some of those earlier quals, but I'm sure we'll loop back around to some samples. It's still kind of even usable up high, isn't it? Kind of sounds like some sort of almost like a little like China cymbal or something. Back when I was in a band, you know, it was always the drummer of the band would like collect weird China cymbals. We even had one that was pretty much fucking broken. It had it was broken. It had like a big crack in it or whatever. But when he would hit that fucking thing, it didn't sound like anything else. And it really, so using that in combination with a really high quality China or just a crash or a ride, that variation in there. And I love those types of sounds. Yeah, really cool. I thought about putting it on a reverse. I thought about hooking this up with my MIDI Verb 2, but you know, for tonight's live stream, I think that's this is good enough. We could always do one in the future where we do that. Crash cymbal. Very similar to, what's the crash cymbal I'm thinking of? Not the 909, but like with the 909, that crash cymbal's like there and then it's gone, you know? Whereas here, we have It sounds good at about -7. Still sounds good. -8. Let's try. Oh, XD5. I think Dubstation had one of those too. It is a K4 engine, right? If I'm understanding correctly the architecture of that drum machine. Ooh. Sounds, I don't know if I want to say good. Weird noise up there. Like some sort of weird ghosty sort of noise thing. So again, weirdly, I'm noticing more strange artifacts you could not capture in your DAW by just taking the sample and pitching it up, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. That's a very different sort of distorted sound than that, right? And then down low. I guarantee you, especially on something like a kick or a snare, tuning it down that low will sound different on the machine than it would in your DAW, but you really hear the difference up high. The timbale. Is that how you say that? Fascinatingly, that responds very cleanly to tuning. We're doing the high conga slap. Anybody else like Conga Fury by Juno Reactor? I mean, I'm sure he was using real congas. Oh, you can hear the distortion. Very cool. Small wood block. Oh, I fucked it up again. Let's go find that small wood block. Tune. So if you're good on your industrial lore, you'll know the song Terrible Lie was, I want to believe, it's the woodblock sample from an Emu Emax 1 or 2, I don't know which, pitch down, so it's a woodblock sample like this. Then pitch down, ran through a distortion pedal and resampled back into an Emax. And then that's what gives that incredible sound, sort of in the bridge of Terrible Lie. And you could sort of hear the beginning, but, you know, not incredibly so. Large woodblock. I could see it being useful plus 15. Kind of a good sound for like house music. Really cool down low. A lot of the room reverb in there. Also, we can pan these samples around in the stereo mix. I hadn't mentioned that yet. I just thought that would be worth pointing out. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it that you can actually make your own EPROMs or EPROMs. I always forget how to say it well. There's so many words I don't know how to fucking say. You can make your own. You can also buy EPROMs from people who make them for these. You pop this bad boy open. I think Dubstation said it's like 4 screws or something like that. And a cheap EPROM puller off Amazon, and you're good to go. And you can load in a bunch of cool stuff into these, and they were sort of made to be done for that to be done. Rosewood clav. What's that thing? That's a clav, I guess. Sounds good everywhere. Lots of smack to it. The cabasa. Huh. It's kind of an interesting sort of. Wow. Again, as you go up, you just get like these noisy low like low pink noise sorts of sounds. I think it would be super cool to be able to load samples via Gotek. I haven't seen anybody do it, though, which makes me think there's something about the machine that stops you from doing that. I could be wrong. Maracas A, not Maracas E, but Maracas A. Everything sort of turns into techno percussion when you tune it really high. It's actually pretty cool down low, too. Different sort of sound to it. Maracas B, we knew that was coming. That's a very short sample. Shaker. Got a nice little hit to it, unlike the shakers on the R50. It's amazing what tuning up samples does on this. And that, like, somewhere about halfway tuned down, you also get some interesting noisy artifacts. Like almost distortion. So -8, there's like this beefy, low, noisy, pink noisy sort of character. But if we go below that, it gets thin again. All the way -15 is very thin. So yeah, it just defies expectation about what you would think. Zenhizer already sampled the shit out of these machines. That's awesome. I don't know who that is. I intend to sample the shit out of this and sell it at a very reasonable price. I don't know if they sell it for free or whatever, so hopefully they don't, just so I can fucking make... It's so hard to make fucking money on YouTube. People think YouTubers are like raking in the dough. I can guarantee you I have not made very much money at all. It's ad revenue. You're like getting pennies. Not even per view. You're getting much, much less than a penny per view. But even if someone watches a lot of the ads, which I do appreciate, it's like you need a lot of people to watch a lot of ads to actually make some real money. Not that I'm complaining, though, because I'd be doing this even if it was free. It's just awesome hanging out with you guys and playing with vintage drum machines. What the fuck is this? A go-go? Well, that's what I was saying, Tom, about this, where just because you can find a sample does not mean you're going to get all the character of the different tunings. God, I'm so silly. I keep doing that same mistake. Let's keep going to, what was it, Shark? Medium cowbell. Familiar with architecture uses a vintage DAW. That's a funny phrase. I appreciate Aquatic. I'm trying my goddamn hardest. It's actually kind of useful down there. I think a cowbell's kind of a... Oh, we even have two cowbells. Large cowbell. You can hear the distortion on this sample more than the other one. It's been a while since I've listened to that Street Cleaner record, but I'm just imagining that sound in a triangle. Oh, tuned down -16. It is just like ear cancer. Oh. It's almost like ring modulation up high. Yeah, I mean, when you think about Diodes and Rust, my current vintage drum and sample pack, I think there's something like 300 samples. It's been a while since I recorded them, so I'm sorry if I'm slightly off on that number, but it's something like 300 samples derived from 24 or so bass PCM sounds, right? So that should give you an indication of how many different ways I sample that. And on that drum machine in particular, there's a gate, there's a flanger, there's like other things going on than just, you know, the vanilla sound anyways. And I feel like if you don't use the gate on the snare samples, for instance, it's not going to sound like it did in the 80s, like bands like Frontline Assembly and everything. Are there any filters with the HR-16? Not that I'm aware of. Bitworld Oxide drums. I don't know that one either. Tom, you know some shit that I don't know. We're coming into the end here. Tambourine, of course, the best thing to pitch down is a tambourine. A la the, what is it, Infinite One? Is that the name of the patch used from the Proteus for the GoldenEye soundtrack? Ooh. Really good at +9. +11's got that nice sort of sound. 12 is good. Funny that 10's kind of noisy and flat, right? That's sort of getting close to that Infinite One. You'd have to pitch it even lower than this to get that sound, though. Really interesting how this drum machine tunes samples. Finally a hand clap. What kind of, what vintage drum machine does that hand clap sound like? It's a very good sample. It's got a little bit of a smeared front end. Yeah, we got 4 outs. That's correct. Adapt, manipulate. Welcome to the stream. Yes, it does. This is the original sounds. Of course, there's the HR-16B revision that came out 2 years later that has really more industrial sounds, is what it says online about them. Man, -10, that's a good place. Like, I'd see a kick drum and just real slow. Yeah. Oh. I love an EBM boomer. I mean, down -16, it's probably unusable again, but I would use it. Also, very grateful for the chat for knowing more than I do. And I don't say that. I don't mean that sarcastically the way it came out. It sounded like I was being sarcastic. I mean that genuinely. If it wasn't for the great knowledge of this chat, my streams would be nowhere near as good. So I appreciate you guys. All the knowledge is always good. This finger snap is interesting. Might be the only sample that I think I would just leave right at pitch 0. Because it sounds like a finger snap, and outside of there, it's a little strange. Drumsticks. Oh, this is cool. All the way up is a kind of a cool, again, techno-y type thing. Low pitch, the clap sounds like the echo from a bullet from a gun, yeah. Down here, -14 sounds super cool. Would just like to say, too, I don't know how well it reads on camera, but to the naked eye, this display is wonderful. I mean, I'm able to see everything very clearly. A little bit of dust there. It's already acquired more dust on it since it's been in this synth dungeon than it had when I got it from Dubstation. Okay, so we've covered all of the sounds pretty much. We can talk about things like tempo, so we can set our tempo wherever we want. We can go check out what kind of pattern we want to do. So if I go back here. So you can hear that we have a lot going on in a lot of these patterns. So why don't we try to make a little beat for ourselves. So the first thing is erase pattern 07, and then I'm going to go look at the cheat sheet here. It's a beautiful thing about this. I can just pop this up. It says in pattern mode, if you want to erase a whole pattern, select pattern number, hold erase, press record. So we've erased pattern 07, right? And now when I press play, there's nothing, and I can see the little beats going there. And then I believe to turn the click on, we need to go to MIDI utility. And what is it? What's the trick here? Function here. We'll turn that on. That's funny. It's funny. It like selected that sample. So let's see. Click value. Maybe we could set it to. Let's see. Oh, we can turn pad dynamics on and off. So if we want to have velocity, these are velocity sensitive pads. So here we could go fixed volume 8, I guess. I think we could change the velocity. We can do all sorts of stuff because there's like song mode and all of that in here. Let me see. Just catching up with the chat here. Yeah, it's very cool. Let me see how I changed the click sources MIDI and internal. See if I could select the click. Why it's selecting that particular sound. So, oh, it's not really any one particular sample. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. But anyways, for some reason, that's our click sound. If I turn that off and just go to record, right? I was off. All right, so erase pattern. There we go. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now I should be able to go and just turn that fucking shit off, and now we have a workable thing. Let's go into the mix. Let's go into the mix and change. Snares a little loud, so. Let me see here. Start, stop, hit voice before you hit a pad. Before you hit a pad, add, and the default voice setting will be the click sound. I don't know if I fully understood that, but it's cool because we're past that now. Nice. Let's pick another snare sound. We'll turn the mix slightly down. And pick the sound. The snare is just so down-tuned. I'm actually going to do something I did not expect to do this stream, which is tune the snare up. The tempo is at 117 right now. Let's take it down a bit. 120, sort of that Hearts and Minds, New York by Microchip League sort of territory, right? Okay. So like someone brilliant was saying earlier, we have the hi-hats are all set together so they choke each other, which is great. Right? So we could record. Where the fuck is that setting? I need that off. Click in play off. I don't need to hear the click there. Okay, so I hit record and voice. That saves my edits in there. Okay, so we've saved that as I'm going. You know, Parbs, that phrase companding storage is probably exactly what's giving it that punchiness, because yes, it is in fact an 8-bit drum. The samples are 8-bit. This is a lie. It's an 8-bit drum machine with a 16-bit D to A. Yeah, choke function's great. So I don't know how to turn off. I thought that was it. That is so pushed against the output there. So if I just play this back now. Right, so and also these have different pans, so we could put what I like to do a lot of the times is pan hard left and right. So we'll start with the one on the left. Now this isn't very realistic, right? Because realistically your hi-hat would be like one place in the stereo field, but fuck it, it's techno, right? Everybody was doing meth. It doesn't fucking matter. And then we'll put the hi-hat, the open hat in the center. So I like it with that hat actually over there for whatever reason. That's better. We've got a clap drum. So why don't we figure out where we want to put that in there? We'll hear this horrible tom. Let me reread what Dub Station said about that. Start, stop, hit voice before you hit a pad. Start, stop. Hit voice before you hit a pad, and the default voice setting will be the click sound. Well, so if I'm misunderstanding, start, voice, and then hit that, and then will that do it? Let's just try to record then. All right, let's see if I did that. I think I fucked that up a little bit. See what I meant? I think someone was saying, they're like, that's not unusable. It's just so out of time with the rest of it. edit voice. Where's the fucking edit voice there? I see copy offset, swing, delete, insert song, erase, tape, fill. Oh well. Let's tune this clap back up. I like it tuned down a little bit so that the transient of the clap is a little behind, and then I'm just going to turn the mix down. Okay, I'm going to hit the voice button before you hit a pad, and the voice you edit will be the click sound. I swear it's got to be in here somewhere. Let me see here if it says in the little thingy there. Can you see the side of my headphones very clearly? Looks like it's in focus. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. This is the beauty of doing these things live. You know, you guys get to really see the truth. Let's see. To assign a different voice to the clicker to a drum pad, press voice. So if I just... I see. I see, said the blind man. So stupid, but reading it there, that's the beauty of having the cheat sheet built in. Even though it's exactly what Dubstation Zero was saying, like word for word, it clicked by reading it that way. Qual, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, okay? Now we should be good. All right. I'm going to take that sample and just pitch it all the way down. And we're going to record that sample in right at the end. There we go. That was all I needed. Cool. MIDI utility. Why don't we go change this to fourth notes? Yeah, that might be nice too, just for while we're recording. Twin Cities, welcome. How's it going? All right. Let's record in our crash and rides, right? Don't need much, right? And it's amazing to hear the compression of this thing, because I have these not super high up, but it sounds really good. Pronab Ashwin, welcome to the stream. Alesis isn't known for their quality patches. I'm surprised. I don't know about that. I mean, around this time when Marcus Ryle and Michel Diodic, I think is how you say his name, were designing for Alesis, you know, they went on to found Line 6. Keith Barr, the founder of MXR, was running Alesis at the time. And of course, Marcus Ryle went on to make the Oberheim OBX8, right? With Oberheim. So pretty good moment. This was like around the time that the MIDI Verb 2 came out, the most legendary reverb machine they ever put out. Reverb machine? What the fuck is a reverb machine? Sari, what's the polyphony on the HR-16? 16. We got 16 voices and 16 pads, which is pretty great. if Michael Jackson made an industrial album, he would use that. Yes, I agree. Alesis and Choir both underrated. I wish Alesis did. I don't know. I have yet to. Did Alesis put out a Rompler? Like, was the Quadrosynth a Rompler? I always assumed it was basically like a VA thing. And once they got into that, like VA or a black box doing VA, so you don't even have the fucking knobs on it, that's when I'm like, I'm out. Oberheim Matrix 6, awesome synthesizer. I too have one. It's right. How do I fuck? Oh, I just hit his chair. It's right there. Love the Matrix 6. Done a video, at least one video on it. Really great stuff. D4, DM5, and DM Pro were used on a lot of stuff. What's that? Was the Quadrosynth a Rompler? Fuck, maybe I have to buy one at some point. I don't need too much crash. I want to get some of this floor tom in, because that's got that like diodes and rust industrial sort of thing. Maybe I'll do a little riff on tom 3 and 4. Now we can go through and actually change these samples. And in the mix here, we can make sure these are left and right. This middle one, we can go to the voice and... Sounds really good there. And then this one too, we can pick... And then see how these sound all together. They're probably too loud, right? And we could also pan these hard left and right. I think it was DJ Agent 17, an industrial DJ, was suggesting the Alesis Ion. Of course, the Andromeda would be the synth that I would go for, because I'm a fucking slut for big bad analog machines. And, you know, the Andromeda is kind of up there with the Modal 002, the Polyevolver, and the Prophet 12 as being kind of the only, I guess the Voyager as well, modern classics from the 2000s, 2010s sort of era until sort of the modern revival of synthesis. But really, there was this like kind of dark ages between the 90s and say 2015 or so, where there just wasn't a lot of legendary synths that came out, and that would definitely be one of them. And then they ran out of money, yeah. So, yeah, for me, I have trouble. Well, people seem to like the Ion, so maybe I need to try it out at some point. I have trouble with like the virtual analog era. I know some people love virtual analogs. I love the sound of the Korg MS-2000. That's probably my favorite of those synths. And of course, the Virus, TI2 is to me really wonderful sounding. Even if it doesn't sound analog, it sounds good, kind of like the Hydra synth. But the thing is that most of those virtual analogs for me, they sound worse than Serum, but I would refer to it as like an uncanny valley between sounding like vintage digital and sounding like modern, really beautiful, clear wavetable-y, serum-y type sounds that just for me isn't the thing. Nord Lead is another one of those virtual analogs. I've never played one. I did a video for Discovery Pro, the new Nord Lead emulation from the same company that put out OBXD, the free Oberheim emulation. And I thought it sounded good. The plugin sounded very good, but the overall, like, if that's anything to be representative of what the Nord Lead 2 sounded like, it's just not the type of sound I would ever go for. And I say that knowing full well that some of my favorite bands used viruses and Nord Leads and JP8000s to make their music. But for me, I just didn't care. You know what? Regal, if I had to go with one, I don't know if I go with a Microwave XTK, but isn't the Waldorf Q basically an XTK, but with a key bed and everything? I was watching, who is that glorious motherfucker? I can't think of his name. I don't know if it's Synth Addict or somebody else. I don't think it was Synth Addict. I think it was someone else. But they put out a lot of great videos, and he got a Waldorf Q, and I thought it sounded very good for a virtual analog. It had like a certain mojo, kind of had that like Waldorf sound, almost like the VA side of a Quantum. But when I heard the Filter FM, I thought, this isn't going to work for me. I can't get a synth that has Filter FM, and the Filter FM, because it was older digital tech, it couldn't really handle it, and so it didn't sound like Filter FM would on, say, like the Oberheim Matrix 6 or Sequential Circuits Prophet or any other synth that, like analog synth, that has that. Yeah, KMFDM used the Lead 2. Q is different than the XTK. Okay, did they make a keyboard version of the XTK? I feel like they did. Sari, don't feel guilty at all. I think the Virus TI 2 in particular, but I think even the Virus TI is pretty incredible. I mean, the musician who probably I wanted to be the most growing up, Sebastian Comore from Comore Commando and Icon of Coil, and now a viewer of this channel, programmed a lot of the presets on the Virus. So, yeah, Nord Lead MS2000. Now, the MS2000 I like the sound of a lot. I don't know why. I mean, and when I did the shootout with that versus the JP8000, a lot of people were thought that the JP8000 sounded better, but for me, I just didn't. I don't know. I see. It's the Microwave XT, and then the XTK is the keyboard. Okay, next question is, does the XTK have a voice polyphony thing? Like, I thought there was an issue with the polyphony. Does it have 8 or more voices? I feel like it might not, and that might be part of why I also somewhat discounted it. Sebastian Comore is a living legend. He just came out with a new song. I think it's called Life Connected. You can get it on his Bandcamp. And I was just like, this motherfucker's just putting it down. Just putting it down. It was a great honor for me to have him remix one of my songs. What was it? Almost 15 years ago. That's fucked up to say out loud. But that was one of the things that helped start my career as an industrial musician, was that Sebastian Comore found me, and actually I played with Sebastian Comore in 2014. Not in his band or something, but with him. I opened up for Sebastian Comore around there. 10 voice, there's a 30 voice expansion. Does that get eaten up if you, like, is it one of those synths that's like multi-timbral so you can eat up more than 10 voices pretty quickly, like say a wave station? Like a wave station supposedly got a crazy amount of polyphony, but because there's so many things going on, like basically 4 oscillators, you eat it up quickly. For some reason I was under the impression, and maybe I'm just like, I was blacked out on whiskey, scrolling through Reverb in a haze after 5 hours of being down the rabbit hole of looking at 90 synths, and I thought to myself, can't get a fucking XT, it's only got fucking so many voices, and I just like lost control. But for some reason I thought that there was like a polyphony issue with a standard XTK. Westpath Kid says, I have an Access Snow. It's great, except Access no longer supports the software and goes with it. And that goes with it in the DAW. So is there any reason though, like, because with the Snows, that's a TI synth still. So you can still like load it into your DAW as a VST, VST2 or VST3, I guess. If you can load it as a VST3, you should be okay. Yeah. XT sounds so fat, there's no issue. XT is multi-temporal, but in reality, one-finger voice nutter. Love that, Simon Norman. The only voice and DSP independent is a Kyra. I think the software works on recent Windows. It works for me on my Mac since I have one with 10.14. But I know there's another editor. Yeah, the Snow is TI. That's what I thought. So, anyways, let's go back to these drum sounds we're working with. So one thing, and this is a problem with basically every vintage drum machine, in my opinion, is the kick just doesn't get loud enough. I mean, we're at volume 99, and I guess I just have to bring everything down, right? So let's just do that. Yeah, that's a little bit closer, and it might seem a little weird because it sounds like the hi-hats and everything are very low. This is sort of like a thing coming from working in a digital audio workstation or just any situation. I know I'm going to run this into a compressor. So for instance, if I jump over here into my DAW real quick and I show you my routing on here, why don't we pull up a distressor from UA Audio, and we will... Yeah, go ahead and load that in. Now, if we listen to that same pattern, you can hear what a difference like versus the dry, right? All of a sudden, the toms and stuff that were a little bit quieter are now brought to the front. So I almost always feel like it's a good idea to take those sounds and take it like a little bit back when it comes to hi-hats and percussion and so forth. Let's go into the voice. Let's slow the attack. What is it, 10 slow? So this is it uncompressed, and I'll bring in some that compression with a really slow attack. And we could even go really slow attack, full release. Mike, absolutely. I mean, or Westbeth Kid said, I actually like it without the distressor. Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I mean, these samples sound so great to start with. You often don't need, I'm kind of doing an extreme thing. The reason is because doing this slow attack, fast release compression here with a lot of pumping. In this case, I'm using a high pass filter in the side chain in distortion 3, or that's at the audio level. Let's use that in the, let's use a high pass in the detector and just distortion 3 on the audio. And trying to get the volume about even. With it all the way dry, you're going to get the punch. You're going to get that transient, and you're going to get the remainder of the elements kind of pulled back a bit. A lot of kick and snare, which probably would sound pretty damn good in the mix. I often like that. But with this nuked out setting here, we can add in a little bit of overall glue using parallel compression with the mix knob here. I think that's definitely the secret for getting a great drum sound. For me, it's often not going to be, I usually push the compressor harder because I like industrial, right? And then, but dial it out mostly. Yeah, it sounds pretty good with maybe like 30% or something. So without the plugin, with it on. Just providing a little bit of beef. Honestly, you probably don't need too much of it. Synthcat, Gingy, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Glad you made it here. So yeah, I mean, let's just play around with this a bit, maybe with a little more compression for the fun of it. Really pushing the down-tuned wood snare. That gives it that 80s sort of sound, right? I saw some people talking online, some article like the 60s kick didn't sound very good, but it's really not a bad kick. That is so nasty. Oh, the like, if you're not listening with a subwoofer or headphones, you're not going to hear it. I still think the gated kick and snare are pretty awesome and probably where the money is, but a lot of the kick samples sound really good. Yeah, you're not going to hear the subs on the NS10s, but great speakers for sure. A lot of panning for sure. Are you running oversampling on the de-stressor plugin? It can alias a bit at 48K. Am I? I don't know. Is that a setting in here? I don't, to be completely honest with you, I don't worry about aliasing too much with this stuff. It's when you're pushing like this thing is going to sound so much more degraded than any aliasing you're going to get from a compressor. But yes, I love, LCR mixing, the idea of putting everything hard left, center, or right, and not a lot in between. That's that works for me. It's not great everything you might want to do, right? Certain types of music, but Chris Lord Algae mixes that way, where everything's hard left, center, or right. Those are the only positions. He says that the only thing that he'll put at like 50% is an anechoic element, like a shaker or something that doesn't have a lot of reverb. So that's something that could be interesting where you kind of place it in the middle, but otherwise it's really great to go wide because, I mean, that's what we want, right? We want really huge sounding mixes. So if everything's hard left, hard right, I do a lot of like call and response or like left right alternating dual hi-hat patterns. So one hi-hat pattern doing a certain thing, the other one doing the other. Sometimes if I need something that would go down the center with a drum machine, I'll, like, for instance, an open hi-hat. Not really, can't do that with this, but with something else or with samples of this, even like slight variations in pitch, and then panning those hard left and right so that you can get a wider stereo image. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to check this out with an MMT8. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, CLA is just like the legend. And of course, it's like his character, his bravado and everything is also a lot of fun. Yeah, but it's hey, Walter, how's it going? Yeah, the Alesis is super cool. You guys have sort of made me think I need to get a quadrasynth. I don't know. Of all of the synths I should get from Alesis, what do you guys think I should go with if I was to get one? Not promising I would because I have too many synths right now. He'll be very proud of me. I did not buy a Prophet VS today. It was I was going back and forth with the seller, but I was just like, look, I don't need to buy another synth. The Andromeda, the QS, I don't know if I know that one. The Fusion, that came out around the Andromeda, right? Was that like the VA Andromeda? Ion, yep, Micron. You guys have a lot of synths you like from Alesis. I was kind of hoping you guys would all center on one. A Prophet VS, yeah. Let's see. Yes, I bought this drum machine from Dubstation Zero because he restores these bad boys. So let me see here. Let's see if I can pop open this chat here. And why don't we start a poll? I'm just curious, guys. Best Alesis synth. And we're going to go with, how many options can I have? Let's go with Andromeda, Ion, Micron, Fusion. I think I can only do that. Am I missing those? I think that's all I can do. So I'm going to start a poll. I'm just curious what you guys think. Yeah. Oh, QS6. That's the other one I would have had. But anyways, I dropped that in the chat and we'll see what you guys have to say. So anyways, this is a good place to call it for tonight, probably. Somewhere around here. Because I like keeping some of these like these like intros to a piece of gear a little shorter. Let's see here. Yeah, here we are. So I'd love to hear, hopefully that was a good demo of what's going on with the HR-16. I think it's a really awesome drum machine. There's a lot more to it. There's like song modes, all sorts of stuff. And obviously you guys can tell this is about, my first experience with it. So, I would love to be the most well-rehearsed live YouTuber there is, but I also think there's some value in us like stumbling through it together. And I found this machine I love the fact that you just open it up. They don't make shit like that anymore, where you open up something and it's got a complete cheat sheet, or like those synths like the D50 where they just print the architecture on the synth physically so you can read what's up. Dorian got the QS 6.2s, 7.1, and 8.2. Holy shit. Yes, and they are circuit bendable. So yes. Oh, did I even put the quadrasynth in the chat here? Let's see. I didn't even put it in. I'm so fucking stupid. But everybody's saying Andromeda, so let's leave that out. I'm gonna end that poll. Let's do another poll. 66% said Andromeda. So I'm gonna go with Q. Wait. Oh, not a Q. I don't want a fucking Q&A. Start a poll. Here we go. Oh, that's interesting. You guys can answer questions live. That's wild. Alesis synth. Let's go with, so we've got Ion. Let's go with the Q series. I don't know. I don't even know the difference. Quadrasynth. And then what's the other one I should do? Micron, Fusion. Let's go Fusion. So Ion, Q series, because the Micron's just a small Ion, right? Awesome, Tracy. How's it going? Well, I always thought, oh, QS is the quadrasynth. I see. Okay, so we'll throw a Micron in. We'll start that poll. There we go. Roland R8, that would be another one I want to get. So let's see what people have to say. Let's see. Now it's going. That's the thing, is like a quadrasynth. I like a good rompler. I'm not really into the VA thing. I'm sure there's like an incredible VA synth that I'm not thinking of out there. But yeah, and if synth has drums, that's a bad sign. Although, I mean, some of my favorite synths have drums, I suppose, like the Quai K4 and stuff. But Wavestation has drums. But, like I want something that feels very synth first. And either workstation or VA or like it can do everything second, Yeah. Roland R70 over the R8. Oh, I need to check that out. Have you had both of them, Dub? QS is derivative of quadrasynth, right? Okay, it seems like most people are saying quadrasynth now. Yeah, what's the best quadrasynth to get? I didn't even realize. That is one thing I don't love. Like, I want to get a Alesis Quadraverb, but there's like a bunch of different versions, and I don't know which to get. So, yeah. I want the one that has like the most classic presets, I suppose. I don't mind if it's not technically as perfect. Dorian disagrees with the plot thickens. Lot of fans. Genki is a fan of the RX5. It's interesting that people really love that one. Proteus 2000. Yeah, I want to get a Proteus 2500, right? That's the one with all the knobs. It's rack mounted, but yeah. But not the electro card for the R8. Interesting. Quadrasynth Plus. Yeah. The R8 has the human feel rhythm. Yeah. The MK2. RX5 and XT5. Funny, it shares a lot of the same letters. Yeah. I'll definitely have to check them out. There's 2 quadra verbs. RX5 from Jinji. All right. Almost 40% of you said quadrasynth, so it seems to be the one that I should check out. Maybe a quadrasynth plus. What's the difference between the quadra and the quadrasynth plus? And the 0.1, 0.2, 0.6, all of that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Quadraverb GT, that's the guitar version of the quadraverb, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want the guitar version, unless that's for some reason superior. I think just like the standard version's probably what I want. But then again, you never know. It's funny how it is with these revisions of things, you know. For instance, I've got a Proteus MPS Plus Orchestral, which is essentially a Proteus 2, which is what Mark Snow used for the X-Files. But it doesn't have the Infinite One patch, so even though it does have Whistlin' Joe, which is the X-Files theme, it doesn't have that Infinite One GoldenEye sound. Although I imagine it can be programmed into it, because I think it has the samples in it. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said its early Quadrasynth Plus piano has more sounds. Janet Jackson's Pleasure Principle equals RX5. Okay. Quadraverb 20K. Yeah. DDD1, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, is the original QS. QS6 and on came out with different sounds but smaller screens. Gary Newman used a quadrasynth in the mid-90s. Really been into Gary Newman's music, the newest stuff recently, from Intruder and Savage, I think the records are called. Just really awesome stuff. Even Atmobeat says, I used to have the original quadraverb in the 90s and I loved it, even though, or maybe just because it did not sound perfect. For me, that is part of the fun, is a not perfect. But I was blown away by how like high fidelity the MIDI Verb 2 sounded. Maybe not compared to, say, like modern reverb, of course, but like it sounded very good. You know what I mean? Like it sounded very lush and full. So, well, I think, yeah, the HR-16 into the big old fat DSS-1 behind me. So, with that, I think that's a great place to end it for tonight. I really appreciate everybody who's hung out during this live stream. And I'd like to ask you guys, if you have the opportunity to share your favorite Vulture Culture video with someone this week, you know, I know a lot of you guys have friends who are music makers too. And if you can think of a video I've done that you've enjoyed that you can send to somebody, sharing videos is one of the best ways to help me with that algorithm, because that algorithm's a motherfucker. It's not trying to help you out, you know? So by sharing videos with someone who you think would enjoy them, right? That would actually really help the channel out. So I thought this week, that's what I'll ask you guys for. I don't have UVI Synthology, although I've thought about it for sure. Yes, Joey from Blush Response certainly knows industrial. So anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Continue to be excellent, and I will see you in the next video.